Hi guys, welcome back to This African Perspective. Thank you all for stopping by. So the videos that we are going to be checking out are videos about the childcare and how childcare is so expensive in America, and that has really resulted in a lot of people not giving birth to children. There's like a decline in the births in this country. So the reason why many people actually feel like, hey, like we're not going to be giving birth is because when you think about the whole stuff, everything pertaining to children and every other thing in life is already expensive. It is so ridiculous that they have to not do it. Your child to the daycare and how much it costs, when you think about it yearly, and it's like sometimes that is even above what people actually get in their paycheck. So what are they supposed to do? That's the reason, and there's so many other reasons as to why not, because it is not favorable for them. Please make sure you click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video. Liking this video actually helps with the algorithm, and I really appreciate that so much. Let's get right into this video.
They're not even in school and you're already paying $25,000 a head?
Yeah.
Come on, dude. That's just dumber than crap. How much money you make? There's not enough money in the world that doesn't make that stupid.
Oh, gosh. Find you a free summer camp.
It does cost $25,000 a year to send your kid to daycare here in the United States of America, and it never ceases to amaze me how out of touch some people are with the lived experiences of parents here in the United States. Dave is supposed to be an expert in his field, so you would think he would know that childcare is the #1 rising cost for families here in our country. It is more expensive and going up at a faster rate than our mortgages, then groceries, then gas. It is the fastest rising cost for most families. And the average cost here in my state, I'm in Massachusetts, is $20,000, but depending on what county you're in, it goes up as high as $26,000. And remember, this is an average, meaning some families are paying much more than that and some are paying less than that. But the average for a family is $20,000. So Dave going off as if that's an astronomical number, like, oh my God, you're the stupidest people in the world for paying that, is just uneducated. He's clearly uneducated in his field of work, because if he does not understand the cost of childcare, then he can't be serving the people. I'm sorry. In where I live, there is such a lack of childcare that families will pay what they have to find it, because there is no childcare. The pandemic destroyed the childcare industry for many, many people. Daycares were closing their doors left and right. There is more demand than ever and less supply. Teachers are leaving that field because the pay is so bad. Our country needs to subsidize childcare, and people like Dave need to get their head out of the sand, because this is the average cost of childcare. This is not an insane number. This is not a wealthy person spending extravagantly. This is the cost of childcare. I don't know anybody in my personal life here in the state of Massachusetts who is not paying at least $20,000 a year for their children to go to daycare. And don't come at me about a nanny, because nannies are much more expensive than that. Individualized care in the form of a nanny is expensive, as it should be, but it is not going to be a cheaper route. Them saying there's cheaper routes, they don't know what they're talking about. And the fact that they just alluded to free summer camp, there's free nothing. There's no free after school. There's no free kindergarten, no free preschool. There is no such thing as free childcare. Unless what Dave's alluding to is the unpaid labor of women, which usually comes in the form of grandparents, aunts, uncles, etc., then I don't know what he's talking about, because there is no such thing as free childcare. Our country could do more for us, and people like Dave could stop spouting idiotic things, because guess what? You're wrong. That is the cost of childcare. That is how much it costs to raise a child these days. It will cost you $20,000 to $25,000 a year for your kid to be in daycare.
Okay, so I finally got my bill back. That tells me how much it costs to have a baby in America. Let's see how much it was. All right, so let's start with the room and board. It cost me total $11,644. Each night, that's $5,822. I'm not going to lie. I would give it about a 2.5 star out of 5. Definitely paid way less for a 5-star hotel elsewhere before, I'm sure of it. The recovery room, after my OBG went up in there and did an amazing job of delivering my son, honey, $4,194. Do I understand the difference between the room and board versus the labor room and delivery? Not really, but for that I was charged $3,979 total. Delivery, labor. Yeah. Okay, for therapeutic services, $2,882. The only therapy I received that I can think of was the doctor helping me to go urinate after I had baby boy. Don't think that there was anything for speech or anything that was worth $2,882. But let's proceed, shall we? Now, the cost of anesthesia, aka the epidural, I think, is $1,324. God dang. Was it worth it? Absolutely. That's the only charge I've seen thus far that looks like it was worth it. Immunology, hematology, bacteriology, and microbiology and immunology. Collectively, that brought me to $877.20. Okay, all right. The lab work. All right, $281.54 for pharmacy costs. I assume every time the doctor came in the room and was like, "You need a pill for that? Would you like pain medicine?" They constantly offered. That was kind, but I often said no. You know why? Because my mama had some Tylenol in her bag, swag. Which collectively brought my total to a whopping $25,181.74. Now, it says insurance adjusted $36,570.32. So the insurance paid $4,672.82. All right. But let's go down here. Total post insurance left with $16,061.40. Then obviously the provider. Shout out to my provider. Okay. Long story short, I ended up spending $911.86 to have my child. Now, my main question is, what about the people who don't have insurance? Why is it that costly to have a baby in a 2-star motel? Now, I would have went and itemized and asked them, hey, what was this and that for, all the extra stuff. But I thought my bill was going to be way higher. So when I saw that it was that, I just took it, paid it, and shut the heck up.
ChildCare. Oh, God. Oh, ChildCare. ChildCare now costs more than college as parents fork over $36,000 a year. This is according to care.com. They go on to say that 47% of parents spend $18,000 a year on childcare. And I think even 20% are spending $36,000. I'm seeing all of you share in the comment sections who have kids what the daycare costs are these days. I think it's a supply and demand issue because there's so many people having to work now and they can't stay home with their children. So there's just tons of demand for these daycare centers, and the daycare centers have no choice but to raise the prices because they need to pay their workers. They need to pay for everything. They've got so many kids, high demand, but it's like, this is mind-blowing to me. Like, what in the... Like, I don't mean to be frustrating here, okay? But it is important for us to know the truth so that we can plan accordingly. But when you've got college, when you've got daycare, when you've got the rent and housing prices, like, what is...
So because of how expensive it is to even go to daycares, that's why you see that a lot of mothers are actually searching to see if they can find any like in-home babysitter that they could find, and just try to make sure that they get as little as possible. So with all this daycare prices being this high, it actually makes most people think twice and be like, hey, I don't think I need more kids than I can afford, because there's no way you'll be able to afford them if you go into daycares will just literally takes thousands and thousands of dollars out of your account every single time. So it is extremely expensive, and with the way they're even charging for it, I actually wonder if the people who work for these daycares are they being paid like so much. Is that the reason why it's like that? But then when you hear the money that people actually get paid, I've said this before, who work for this daycares, they get paid so little, and I'm like, where's the profit going to? Because I thought usually, like, if you're charging so much, shouldn't the people who work for you be paid at least a good enough amount? But I mean, we are not going to talk about that. Let's just focus on how expensive it is.
The going rate for a babysitter in my area is $25 an hour. This is it for me. I have looked. I'm in Massachusetts, high cost of living area. Childcare is very expensive here. On average, at a daycare, it's like $2,500 for an infant to attend a month. So you take that, you put it into daycare form. This is what you're getting. It's $25 an hour. That's for a babysitter. That's not for a nanny. That is for a babysitter. If you have multiple kids, this rate goes up. Okay, this rate can go up. And so typically when parents are trying to find a date night or go out with friends, whatever it might be, just space. Even today, my husband and I paid so we could go run Christmas errands without our kids. You're going to be paying $25 an hour. So your time It gets very expensive. It gets expensive to go to dinner with friends. It gets expensive to have brunch. It gets expensive to run errands. And that can be really hard to navigate. And this is not even including the fact that oftentimes childcare is inaccessible. If you can't find it, the babysitters are not just always readily available. They move on, they get different jobs, they find different families. You're competing with other calendars. So if you don't have a built-in network of, say, grandparents or aunts and uncles who step into help care for your kids, or even friends, then it's very difficult sometimes just to do simple things like get lunch with a friend or, run an errand. Sometimes even go to a doctor's appointment, right? Some of those things are very, very difficult. And even if you lock in a good babysitter, it can be difficult because they could get sick. They could flake out at the last minute. You do not have control, and that is very, very difficult. So not only is childcare expensive, but it's difficult to locate and secure and know that it's going to work for you.
I posted a video about how I pay $69,000 a year for childcare, and you guys really wanted to know what I do and how much money I make. So for the sake of pay transparency, I wrote it down. I am the co-founder and CEO of Ivory Paper Co., which is a premium stationery company that I started with my husband back in 2018. I went and I looked through our tax returns, and we pay ourselves a base salary of like $215,000 a year, but we also give ourselves bonuses based off of the performance of the business. We are doing multiple 7 figures in revenue and hope to break 10 million in annual revenue. I'm also 25, my husband is 28, and we have 2 kids, like I said, who are 3 and 5. We've been married for 7 years, and we are so grateful and so blessed to be able to be in the position that we are now. But we've been hustling for the last 4 years to get Ivory Paper Co. off the ground and to be to the point where we can afford childcare like this.
So you mean to tell me that some daycares got people out here paying $300 a week for care? And that's per child. When did that happen? My mother used to have an in-home daycare center with a teaching program because she used to be in the school system. And she had it for over 10 years, up until, I believe, 2014. And, during that time, I think initially she was charging like $90 per week per kid. But eventually it got up to $125 per week, which wasn't a steal of a deal. That was actually comparable to what other in-home providers and other centers were charging at the time. Some of the kids were with her from birth until they went to kindergarten, but others transferred to other centers that had full-fledged preschool programs. And even then, they were only paying maybe an extra $25 or $30 from what we were charging on a weekly basis. So for $500 to $600 a month, you could get full-time care, which was reasonable. So to see these prices now, that is just crazy to me. And I realize that, costs do go up and sometimes you have to charge more, but I just hope that some of these centers are also paying their teachers more.
And it's like, is it worth it
For the class, how much do you guys pay for daycare where you live?
I had 2 toddlers go 2 days out the week, and that was $284 every week, which was a little over $1,100 a month. So if you just go by one child, it was $142 for each kid for 2 days. But I thought that was expensive, but apparently that's normal. That's normal. I'm like, that's a lot. So they got pulled.
A lot of people who actually have kids and have like their grandparents at home and have a bunch of people around them that can help them watch their kids all the time are really so lucky, because you don't know what you're missing. Like, you don't know how that means a lot, like the help you're getting, because you can see the amount that people are actually paying for those that really do not have much help, and how are they going to live like that. So they literally have to go and be taking their kids for all those daycares and stuff. But at the end of the day, you get to just leave your child with their grandmother or your mother, all those people that might be at home to actually watch your child every single time, or maybe some of them who actually have babysitters who charge them so little. You should be really grateful to them, because man, it's so expensive out here.
Okay, let's talk about childcare and how much it is in California. You are going to just be mind blown at how expensive it is. It is. How do people afford childcare right now in California? Okay, let's break down the numbers. Ready for these numbers? Okay, this is the breakdown of how much it would cost you to send only one kid to this particular Montessori school in Southern California. I'll give you 3 options at this particular childcare place. First option is Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to 12, and it's $1,200. It's just crazy to think how expensive it is to send your kids to daycare in California. or any type of childcare. That $1,200 does not include diapers or lunch. It only includes 2 snacks. The second option they give you is their second program, which is Monday through Friday, so 5 days a week, but from 8:30 to 2:30, which is a half day, and that's going to cost you $2,250 a month. Here's their third program option. So it's a full day. It's Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5:30. And this program is going to cost you $2,650 a month. So the $2,650 a month for the full day doesn't include diapers and it doesn't include lunch. Lunch you still have to provide, or they have a lunch there, and it's going to cost you $8 a day. So if I was to send both boys to the school and have them provide lunch for both of them Monday through Friday, it would cost us $5,620 a month. Like, is that real? I mean, what? No. Is this real, guys? Like, $5,620. Hey, I guess I will continue the search. I'll let you know how it goes.
Since I started my daughter in daycare in August, I realized very quick why people say daycare is such a luxury now instead of a right for people who need to go out in the world and go fend for their families. Me and my husband pay $1,400, $355 a week for daycare. The shit cost more than our townhouse that we're paying for right now. And the mind-boggling part about it all is whether she goes or not, that's the set price, even if it's on their terms that she's not going. Last week, for example, Thanksgiving, okay, they had off Thursday and Friday, which means my daughter only went 3 out of the 5 days, and the shit was still $355. Shit gotta change. This shit costs too much.
I don't know where that lady that does that you can't actually afford a babysitter video series is, but I've got one for her. This girl that I used to work with posted that she's going to need a new babysitter soon, and because I'm nosy, I of course check the comments to see who's interested and to see what she's paying. First, let's look at our schedule. We are looking at least 12 hours because we're between 4:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. to 6, so 12 to 14 hours depending on the day. She's looking for this number of hours for Monday through Thursday, so that is 4 days. And she's wanting this for 3 kids. I'm gonna say, just guessing the ages, the oldest is probably like 6, youngest is maybe 2, middle kid 4. That's just my guesses. So my guess is 6, 4, and 2 for those girls. And this is an all-day thing, and these are all kids that are like eating, so remember we're also cooking meals here. And how much is she paying? $125 a week, or up to $150. So $150 max for 3 kids, 4 days, 12 plus hours. I'm really bad at math, so this could be wrong, but I think that comes out to about $3.12 an hour. And that's being generous using the $150 amount and at just 12 hours dividing that. And then remember, that's also for 3 kids. That's $3.12 an hour for 3 kids. 2 to 3 kids, depending on the time of the day. Good luck, girly.
The age a child is supposed to be in America before they can actually start going to school should be reduced a lot more, because I mean, in some countries you can even take the child can start going to school by the age of maybe, you know, at a very like younger age, maybe by age 2, 3. So the limit being like in some states where a child has to go to school by the age of 5, like that's even increasing more of the, you know, childcare, the need for childcare, and that is increasing a person's money as to what they will spend, because you cannot even stay home with your child because you need to go and work, because there's not enough money for you and your family to actually survive if you don't go and work. And that means you can't even stay at home to actually take care of your child. So that means you have to go and find a place where you need to get childcare for your child, and that is going to cost you more and more money over time. So I feel like if the age can be reduced more where they can take their children to school, then it will be better. All right guys, that's it for this video. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. I really appreciate you guys so much. Please make sure you click the like button. It really helps with the algorithm, and I appreciate that so much. And subscribe to the channel if you're watching my video for the very first time and you're new here. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.